video specifically breaks down the 6 all-time best Oscar acceptance speeches, why those speeches were so great, and what we can take away from them as people who are pursuing our own moonshot dreams. Have you ever dreamed of winning an Oscar? Tell the truth, have you ever been in the bathroom and found yourself holding your toothbrush and accepting your award, this toothbrush, and giving this heartfelt award speech that is just all of the things that you were dreaming coming true? Am I the only one? Listen, if you have big dreams for your life and you spend all your time envisioning, here's what it's going to actually feel like when I accomplish this big thing, and here's how I'm going to draw it towards myself by being in gratitude today, right now, and also by taking notes from some of the greatest who have done exactly that, gone for something that is essentially a moonshot, won that moonshot, and then televised live on the Oscars. If that has ever been you, if it's not just me, this video is really for you. This video is for the dreamers, and it's for the kind of person who has big dreams and knows that those dreams are possible and is secretly practicing their speech in the mirror. Get your popcorn and your toothbrush. Let's start writing your Oscar acceptance speech right now.
Hey, welcome to Love on Stage. I'm Magogodi. If you're ready to make sales and spark action when you speak, this is your place. I've helped dozens of leaders choose courage over comfort by speaking with confidence and love, especially in tough conversations. Because listen, public speaking isn't just a thing that you do on stage. It's what you do every time you deliver a work presentation, when you interview for that plump job you deserve, when you negotiate your salary, and every time you sweat bullets during a big pitch. That's all public speaking. It's time to level up your storytelling because your story matters. So, you ready to speak like a boss? Let's get into your most powerful story.
Making this video was so much fun for me because obviously I went into the archive and I looked at a lot of beautiful speeches, and I want to begin with Hattie McDaniel in 1940 accepting her award for Gone with the Wind. Remember, this is 1940. She is the first Black woman ever, probably to be nominated. I don't know the history of that, but she's definitely the first woman to win an Oscar award. And you really have to give it up for Miss Hattie, because the way that she accepts the speech, she is so overcome with emotion. But the way that she accepts it with so much grace is such a huge lesson for all of us of what does it mean when we are overcome, like completely verklempt, like we can barely get the words out. How do we stand in front of this audience of people and say something that's intelligible and something that's moving? And if you listen to her speech, the thing that really matters to me, she says a lot of beautiful things. It's a very short speech, and she is so aware of the history on her shoulders and what it means for her as a Black woman. She acknowledges that in the speech.
It has made me feel very, very humble. And I shall always hold it as a beacon for anything that I may be able to do in the future. I sincerely hope I shall always be a credit to my race and to the motion picture industry. My heart is too full to tell you just how I feel. And may I say thank you, and God bless you.
And you have to think for yourself, can you imagine her standing in front of the sea of white people? Nobody like her has ever been nominated or accepted this award before. And here she is breaking this huge boundary barrier. It's moving only for that, only for empathizing, for trying to stand in her shoes and being like, wow, this woman, talk about a total bad.
And the Oscar goes to Halle Berry in Monsters Ball.
Halle Berry winning in 2002. I still remember actually watching the entirety of the Oscars to see this woman win the Best Academy Award for a motion picture. And remember, this is the first time that a Black woman had ever won in this particular category, Best Actor. And her speech was so moving because of how she uses it to acknowledge the history. She speaks about 74 years until this moment.
This moment is for Dorothy Dandridge, Lena Horne, Diane Carroll. It's for the women that stand beside me, Jada Pinkett, Angela Bassett, Vivica Fox, and it's for every nameless, faceless woman of color that now has a chance because this door tonight has been opened. I'm so honored. I'm so honored, and I thank the Academy for choosing me to be the vessel for which is blessing my flow. Thank you.
I love that juxtaposition of looking backwards and acknowledging the folks whose shoulders you stand on, and also looking around you sideways and saying, these women, including the ones that are unnamed, these women are just as deserving, and these women are so important, and if nobody else sees you, I see you. That speech is so powerful. We all have so much to learn from it. If you're a speaker, if you're a writer, if you're an artist, the thing that you can take away from this is the power of making a moment as big as that inclusive. Looking around the room and asking yourself, who has not stood here, who deserves to be here, and how do I make my standing here something of a vessel, which is the words that she uses. She talks about, thank you for making and allowing me to be a vessel. That speech, oh man, and that's also like the pixie. the hair was herring, okay? It was just like, everything was flawless. The dress, the cut, chef's kiss, Halle Berry. Next, I want to talk about Lupita Nyong'o and Michelle Yeoh, 2 different years. Lupita Nyong'o, I believe, was 2014, and Michelle Yeoh was 2023. Very different movies. And what I love about both of their speeches, number one, both of them are born outside of the United States, just like me. Lupita Nyong'o is from Nairobi, Kenya. And Michelle Yeoh, she acknowledges Malaysia home, and she also acknowledges Hong Kong, which oh my God, people of Hong Kong, I love y'all. If you're in Hong Kong, you're watching this, like, you deserve a whole Oscar award, okay? Just for being like the baddies that you are. We see you, we see everything. I need to do a whole video about Hong Kong, apparently. Let's stay on topic. These 2 women, and how they use the award to acknowledge especially the young people, little girls, boys who look like them.
For all the little boys and girls who look like me watching tonight, this is a beacon of hope and possibilities. This is proof that dreams dream big and dreams do come true.
It doesn't escape me for one moment that so much joy in my life is thanks to so much pain in someone else's. And so I want to salute the spirit of Patsy for her guidance. And for Solomon, thank you for telling her story and your own. When I look down at this golden statue, may it remind me and every little child that no matter where you're from, your dreams are valid.
Oh man, the little girl inside of me. Because the thing is, like, here's the thing, right? Like, yes, we know representation matters. And yes, it's very much for the next generation so that they can see and be validated by seeing themselves and what's possible for them. But let's tell the truth here. It's also for us grown as women, men, queer folk. It's for us because we didn't have those role models, right? Like, when Lupita won, I remember crying because it felt like somebody saw me in my bathroom with my toothbrush and was like, girl, you can do it, you can do it. And the takeaway here is when you're in a moment that feels larger than life, I hope I have the grace, I hope you have the grace to use that moment to lift others up, and especially others who look like you, who may not have that opportunity until you break the barrier. So both of those queens, I mean, also can we please talk about Michelle Yeoh and how much, like, the levels of stan when she talks about, like, woman, don't let nobody tell you you're past your prime, okay?
And ladies, don't let anybody tell you you are ever past your prime. never give up.
Like, she gets her Oscar nomination when she gets it, way past 40. And like I said in a different video, life begins after 40. So I'm definitely taking a page from that book. Okay, we cannot talk about the greatest moments of the Oscar whole land, world, whatever, without talking about the Academy Award in 1973, I believe, when Marlon Brando won for Best Actor, and he used that moment to shine a spotlight on American history and say something is broken with our industry, and unless we are strong enough to look ourselves clearly in the mirror, like, yo, what the heck are we doing? What happened, if you don't know, he won the Academy Award and he didn't show up. He asked Sachin Littlefeather, an Apache woman, and also a woman who is working very much, she's an activist and she was working in motion pictures. He asked her to accept the award. This warrior, gorgeous, beautiful, brave as of, just the levels of pride, respect, gratitude, humility, taking all my notes, watching this woman who was very young at the time, accepting the award. And you can see her, she's very nervous. She's almost shaking. And she talks about the importance of that particular moment. And she speaks about why this particular award is not being accepted by Marlon Brando, and she's not accepting it either, right? It's a rejection because of what the industry stands for and how repressive the industry has been towards images and real life shit towards Native American people. Not only does it teach, a lot of people were confused in the audience, a lot of people booed her in real time in the audience. And 50 years later, there was an apology by the Academy. The big wigs who run the Academy came out and were like, oh, we're so sorry, we shouldn't have done that. But that's not really, and forgiveness is really important. I'm not gonna denigrate the importance and the significance of that moment, and she acknowledged it as well before she passed. What I do want to talk about is what it means to use your voice to say the thing that is unpopular, to be willing to be booed off a stage because what you have to say is the truth, and it's so much more important and bigger than the fanciness of the awards and the important people in a room. The level of courage it takes to do that, I pray for all of us. If you're watching this and you're a speaker, you're a leader, you're a writer, you're somebody folks look up to and listen to, if none of those things are true and you're a human being and you're listening to this, I need you to take this in. It matters so much how we use our voices, when we use our voices, and especially when we use our voices to speak the fucking truth to power that needs to change. I'm so grateful for Miss Littlefeather, and I'm so grateful for that moment because of how uncomfortable it made so many people feel. And sometimes the thing that you need to say the most, even when you're living out a dream, right? Marlon Brando probably wanted to make movies all his life. Even when you have made it to the point when you're living the dream, it is your duty as a human being to look around you and say, how is this dream impacting everybody? Am I being responsible with this dream? And if I'm not, if I'm part of an industry that's doing some toxic shit, how do I speak out and have courage? And hats off to Ms. Littlefeather again, who says she spoke to her ancestors and asked them to bless her in that moment. And did they ever? Because honey, 50 years later, we're speaking about a dramatically different moment. And let me tell you something, we better ask those same ancestors and our own ancestors to come through, because this is a moment where we really need people to be that brave, to speak up. I need you, wherever you are, wherever you're showing up, I need you to come with that same kind of energy as Sachin Littlefeather. Not only does it teach, a lot of people were confused in the audience, a lot of people booed her in real time in the audience. And 50 years later, there was an apology by the Academy. The big wigs who run the Academy came out and were like, oh, we're so sorry, we shouldn't have done that. But that's not really, and forgiveness is really important. I'm not going to denigrate the importance and the significance of that moment, and she acknowledged it as well before she passed. What I do want to talk about is what it means to use your voice to say the thing that is unpopular, to be willing to be booed off a stage, because what you have to say is the truth, and it's so much more important and bigger than like the fanciness of the awards and the important people in a room. The level of courage it takes to do that, I pray for all of us. If you're watching this and you're a speaker, you're a leader, you're a writer, you're somebody folks look up to and listen to, if none of those things are true and you're a human being and you're listening to this, I need you to take this in. It matters so much how we use our voices, when we use our voices, and especially when we use our voices to speak the fucking truth to power that needs to change. I'm so grateful for Miss Littlefeather, and I'm so grateful for that moment because of how uncomfortable it made so many people feel. And sometimes the thing that you need to say the most, even when you're living out a dream, right? Marlon Brando probably wanted to make movies all his life. Even when you have made it to the point when you're living the dream, it is your duty as a human being to look around you and say, how is this dream impacting everybody? Am I being responsible with this dream? And if I'm not, if I'm part of an industry that's doing some toxic shit, how do I speak out and have courage? And hats off to Ms. Littlefeather again, who says she spoke to her ancestors and asked them to bless her in that moment. And did they ever? Because honey, 50 years later, we're speaking about a dramatically different moment. And let me tell you something, like we better ask those same ancestors and our own ancestors to come through, because this is a moment where we really need people to be that brave, to speak up. I need you, wherever you are, wherever you're showing up, I need you to come with that same kind of energy as Sachin Littlefeather.
Oh. Hello, gorgeous.
Already, like you're smitten, the mood is changed, it's lighter. I absolutely, I have a whole video that I've made about how to be funnier in conversation, because funny and funny bones and bringing levity is such a huge strategic playbook for how you get uncomfortable conversations done, how you move people towards saying yes on things that they might ordinarily not be willing to say yes so quickly. It's also how you make connections. Being funny is one of the most impactful skills that you can learn for yourself. Learning how to improv, how to speak off the cuff. And clearly this woman, she knows her funny stuff. And that particular Oscar win is something to study, just so you understand in moments where everybody is like, we're at the Oscars. This is so important, darling. We all need to speak in this hoity-toity voice. How do you show up in that moment and flex your funny bones and let everybody remember and know, yo, you're still human, bro. Like, I see you, I see all of it. Like, hang out, like, let's not be so stuffed up. Let's not take our dreams so seriously that we forget they're our dreams and that we forget that we're human. That's the most important thing, and that dreams are part of play. Viola Davis, when she took the stage and won the Academy Award for Fences, the dress, can we please talk about like that red moment? I really should be wearing all red here instead of all white, because it was such a perfect moment.
People ask me all the time, what kind of stories do you want to tell, Viola? And I say, exhume those bodies, exhume those stories. The stories of the people who dreamed big and never saw those dreams to fruition. People who fell in love and lost. I became an artist, and thank God I did, because we are the only profession that celebrates what it means to live a life. So here's to August Wilson, who exhumed and exalted the ordinary people.
Her focus And her clarity is such a powerful invocation of purpose and why. She speaks about why she became an artist and a storyteller. And it moved me to tears as a writer myself, as somebody who has chosen the path of being an artist. The work that we do is so sacred because it honors the human condition, as Viola Davis speaks about. And to shine a light on the everyday, on the daily rituals that we go through, like turning this YouTube on, like watching the Oscars with your friends, like the next day exchanging notes about who is the best dressed and which one did you love the most. Also the quiet daily moments, right? I was joking earlier about being in the mirror with a toothbrush and pretending you're accepting your award, and what do you say? Those private moments, those private thoughts inside of yourself are the things that make life so sacred and so worth living. You know, I have to tell you, I am living through, as this is being recorded, I'm living through a really difficult time. My family and I has just experienced a seismic loss in our family, and I am so filled with awe at what it means to be alive. And I have always thought that the most precious thing that we get to do with and for one another is witness each other's lives. And when you have a death in the family, it exacerbates the importance and the beauty of that work. It took me a really long time to put this makeup on, so I'm not going to cry and make it melt. And the person who has passed away, wow, you know, talk about worthy of talk about an Oscar-winning life, right? I hope when I pass away that my dreams that I practice, accepting things fall with a toothbrush in the mirror in the morning, I hope that my dreams are just as equal to my life and that I have been good to those dreams. Because what I want to tell you is the things that you dream about the most, they are holy. They are not just ideas in your head, especially the ones that are persistent. They are the way that the universe and your ancestors and God, this is how they speak to you and tell you what your purpose is and help you stay on your purpose. And our greatest work on earth is not only fulfilling those particular dreams, because those dreams are a way of offering pieces of ourselves and our gifts to others. But our greatest work is also being one of those people in the audience who cheers folks on, right? Our greatest work is witnessing each other and helping each other towards that stage. It is such a privilege and honor to be an artist, because my job every day is to look at the small, everyday, quotidian, forgotten, overlooked moments and say that this is beautiful, this is sacred, this is worth looking at. And I hope that when you're practicing in the mirror, part of your dreams include those small moments as well. The person who I'm honoring through this Academy acceptance video, one of the things that I love the most about her is how much her dreams were about loving people around her, right? And I so hope that that becomes a part of my life, that who I am in my private life, who I am in even my public life, how I show up in roles that are interhuman, that I touch folks' lives and I serve with love. And I hope that resonates with you. I would love to know in comments if you're also the kind of person who practices in the mirror. Do you use a toothbrush? Do you use a razor? Do you use something else? Let me know. What does your Academy acceptance speech look like? And thank you so much for being here. It is such an honor to be with you every week. I don't take this for granted. Thank you for subscribing, for liking. I will see you next week. Fresh videos always drop on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 p.m. Eastern.
Was that useful? You want to go even deeper? I'd love to support you. My coaching program can help you make money and spark action whenever you speak with intention. Book time to chat using the link in the description box below. Also, leave a comment if this video offered something you needed to hear today, or if you have a question you want me to unpack in next week's episode. Fresh episodes drop every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Hit subscribe to get a notification so you never miss a beat. Thank you so much for being here. I want you to know that your story matters. And I'm here to help you stand out from the stage to the page.